Saturday, meant to be raining, but the sun's shining, so we'll take that. Yes, we will. We're in winter. But anyway, as the um, title says, Uber is trialling cash rides in New Plymouth. Now, a few weeks ago, I got an email explaining that they're piloting it and looking at centres around New Zealand where they're going to pilot it, and that they'll let us know in the app if it's in our region. And 23 hours ago, I'm going to read it to you, one day ago. So it obviously started yesterday, but I'm going to read it as they sell it to us on the app. So it says, we're piloting cash as a payment option in New Plymouth starting today. So that was yesterday. Hey there, bro. Good to see you. Hopefully those orders are coming in thick and strong for you. Keep you busy. So here it is. Hi, Daryl. Very private? No, it's not. Everybody would have got their name in there. At Uber, we believe that movement should be accessible to everybody. Some riders, for example, international travellers, miss out on using the Uber app because they prefer using cash. I've never had an international passenger wishing that they could pay cash. They rave about the fact that no matter where they go in the world, that they can use the Uber app. So I don't know how they're trying to tell us that international travellers want to pay us cash. And New Plymouth isn't. Yes, we've got international travellers, but a lot of them are in camper vans travelling New Zealand. It says quicker payouts, more earning opportunities. From today, which is yesterday, we'll be piloting cash as a payment option for riders in your city and letting you decide if you want to take cash trips. This allows more riders to use the app, creating more earning opportunity for me. You'll see cash payment on the trip offer card next to the rider rating, so you'll know whether you should expect the rider to pay in cash for the trip. So, here's how it works. Collect cash from your riders and we adjust your Uber balance. When taking a cash trip, riders will pay you in cash at the end of the trip instead of through the Uber app, settling the trip payment with the rider by providing change. So they expect us to carry change and pay at the end of the trip. So how many are out the door and gone before you've got the money? Anyway, entering the exact amount you receive from the rider helps keep accurate record for both you and the rider in the app and allows us to adjust your account balance correctly. So if it's a $20 or if it's an $18 ride and they give you $20, you put in $20. No change, no worries. If you don't have enough change, that's okay. Enter the exact amount of cash you've collected from the rider. You can keep the extra cash, and we will deduct the extra amount from your Uber account balance. We will credit the same amount in Uber credits to the rider as change for you. So if it's an $18 trip and they give you $20 and you got no change, you put in $20, $2 gets credited to them. Okay. You'll always receive your trip earnings, even if a rider doesn't pay at the end of the trip. What sort of headache is that going to be to get? If your rider doesn't pay you at the end of the completed trip, you simply need to enter this into your app and end the trip. We'll take care of the rest and make sure that you are paid what you are owed by the rider within the driver app. I'm sure that's going to not be seamless. But that opens up for drivers, the cheeky ones, dishonest ones, to accept the cash, push on the app that they never received the cash, and fight it that way. Easily opt out if you don't want to accept cash. Today, you will be automatically opt-in to accept cash. That's yesterday. Opt out at any time in a few simple steps by clicking here. And that just goes into our preference. Stay safe. Your safety is our priority. Carrying cash within your vehicle may lead to increased risk as a driver partner. Really? That is why we've designed the cash experience on Uber to aim to minimize any potential for conflict between driver partners and riders. I can't understand how they've designed it to be any safer than carrying cash, because you're carrying cash. We strongly recommend that you do not dispute transactions with riders. Safely finish the trip and Uber will handle the collection of any remaining funds directly with the rider for you. Yes, this will not impact your earnings and will not be counted against you as a driver partner. Also, remember that safety comes first. We recommend avoiding carrying too much cash in your vehicle and keeping your cash in a place where riders and others could see it, in addition to depositing your cash regularly. So if this took off and you had a busy Friday night, what do you do? For an additional layer of safety, you can also set up auto recording on your trip at any time through the safety toolkit. Once that's turned on, your passenger will be notified that the trip will be recorded for safety purposes. Learn more about it in the click that link. I opted out of cash rides for the simple fact that I don't want to be carrying cash. I don't want to be carrying cash on me. Hey, hello. Because that just opens us up to a lot more grief. I've got a dash cam. It records partially inside. But, taxis, they've got complete CCTV that saves to a hard drive that if there's any dispute, it's all high resolution. It's awesome in the dark. And that's how they get around it. Now, I just lost my page where I wanted to go. So I opted out for that fact that I'm not going to be a sitting duck waiting for someone to want the cash more than what I do. But here's a very interesting point. I'll just find it. I read it. Hey, here we go. This is a cheeky bit from Uber. Enter the exact amount you receive from a rider, right? For example, if you receive a $20 note and give back $2 in change to the rider, enter $18 into that, obviously because you've... Okay, here we go. Note, there may be a small number of occasions where your rider has arrears from a previous trip to be settled via the platform. So they'll like sometimes people, they prepay a $10 trip or something and it comes to $12 for that trip. So Uber still takes $12 off them. They end up being negative $2 in their account until they top up their account again. So there's a case that, there's an occasion that a cash rider possibly owes Uber a couple of more dollars for an old ride. So if in this case, you will see this included in the total collection amount. Just input the full amount received and we'll handle the rest. So they're asking us to collect debt on their behalf as well. It's getting to a point where it's, where do they come up with these ideas? Like, what's their thinking? Everybody loves the Uber app because it is what it is. There's no cash involved. There's no having to try and take money off someone and try to sort out change. There's none of that involved between me and the rider. The rider jumps in, I drive, I drop them off, they get out. Done. Simple. It's such a good idea. And now they want to bring in cash. And I know that they've trialed and piloted cash in other cities around the world, like the bigger American cities. And I haven't followed it to see how it's gone, but I mean, because I never thought that it would come to New Zealand. But that cheeky bit about asking us to basically collect debt from them. And how does that work as our earnings? Because say we collect a $3 debt, that's not our earnings. So then they take that off at the other end. I'm going to stay opted out of it. It's just seems like too much of a headache. Yeah. So that's Uber trialing it out here in New Plymouth. I don't know. What are your thoughts anyway? Would you if you use Uber, do you think this is a great idea as a passenger? If you use Uber, do you think you would prefer to pay by cash? Or would you prefer to leave it the way that it is? Or is this going to make you sign up to be an Uber passenger? Is this something like, oh, great, now I can use cash, now I can use Uber? Because Uber's still going to take their cut from us. So, you know, we're going to get a $10 fare, say, $10. They're going to debit our payout account their cut out of that $10. So we're not getting any more. We're asked to chase up their debt, obviously. It just opens up a whole heap of big can of worms, I believe, especially in New Plymouth. I don't think there's a need for it. Are they trying to compete with taxis? Because, you know, we see a lot of the older generation still using taxis, but that's not because of cash. That's because they don't want to have an app that they have to sign into and don't want to put their credit card details on. So there's a lot of other things behind the scene that taxis are a hail service. You know, you don't need to be a member of them. You can just go up to them and say, look, I need a ride to here, and you get a ride. Uber is a completely different platform, cash or cashless, whatever way you look at it. Going cash is not going to be competing against the taxis, and yeah, I'm lost for words why. Maybe one of you guys, a rider, maybe if you ride, you could enlighten me and say it's a great idea, but as a driver, I believe it's just opening us up to runaways and like I said, the dishonest drivers will be able to double dip that, take the cash. You know, if someone that comes out of a nightclub and they're, you know, pretty trolleyed, and they pay for their ride, and then he says that he never got paid, they're not going to know. They'll wake up in the morning and be like, what the? I thought I paid him, mustn't I? So there's going to be a lot of that. Hopefully those drivers get kicked off. That'll be good to see, because we need to clean up the drivers in Uber. There's a lot of shady ones, and I put my hand up and say I try my best not to be a shady one, as you put it. I try to be as honest as I can. I don't bend the rules. I don't, you know, take trips without the passenger in the car like I hear some do. They accept the trip, start the ride, and pocket the money. You know, there's all that sort of stuff going on, and this is just going to make it a lot easier for them to get away with something. But on the other end, if they don't pay, or if they don't pay enough, you know, they've only got $5 on them and it's a $10 fare, how difficult is that to be chased down through Uber? You know, let's face it, if I ring Uber, it takes me probably 35 minutes to get a human. It's AI this, AI that, trying to put me through, and you just give up. You know, I've had the car damaged, I've had a dent put in the car, and it's not worth the aggravation. It's just, yeah. So yeah, are they moving forward, or are they taking a step backwards? Well, that's me. I've got to go get ready. I've got a food trailer to run tonight, and then I'll drive a little bit tonight. But yeah, thought I'd just update you on that. So keep driving, keep safe, stay safe as a passenger, stay safe as a driver. And if you're delivering food, make sure you've got good shoes so you don't slip over. Kia ora.